Hey guys, got another daily update for you. Today we're going to be doing some YouTube comment Q&A and then growth stats for YouTube, Instagram, and products. And then finally, I don't think I'll have time for a daily business improvement just because I'm at the airport here and I'll try my best to cut out, the inevitable announcements, but probably get this done in about 15 or so. So this is the main channel here at 141K. This is the daily updates channel. I just scroll all the way down to the bottom and then answer the last question on the list. Looks like the last question is from Stash Guy Y9H. Hey Nick, been watching you for a while now. Finally wanted to show some appreciation. Me and a friend started our agency last August, used our network, and immediately got a 5K a month client. Got a little too focused on doing anything we could do for them, and finally took a step back to realize we aren't going to grow if we aren't going to look for more clients. So we've been stuffing our socials with blogs and posts so we could start advertising at the end of the month. What are your thoughts on starting with LinkedIn ads? I assumed it's smart since we're targeting business. Well, that is quite the assumption to make. I mean, you're probably going to be targeting business with literally anything you do. So I would not use that as the qualifier for smart. Really, what is smart? Smart is where the cost per acquisition is just maybe 1/30th or something like that of just the gross. So that's what I would call smart. Do I personally use LinkedIn ads? No. The smartest and simplest way that I've found to get up and running with this stuff is just to do outbound outreach. So what you're doing is fundamentally different. You're doing inbound. So you are posting ads and then you're creating some big funnel or whatever. And you're probably doing a bunch of static assets and whatnot to make it work. So I don't know, landing pages and VSLs and so on and so forth. I probably wouldn't do that if I were in your shoes. I'd probably just go outbound using cold email. I'd probably submit Upwork apps. And then if you're going to do LinkedIn, which you can, I would just DM people on LinkedIn as opposed to try to do something different. Okay, King Brown says, just two quick questions. When onboarding a client, do you have to tell them to create an N8N or make account and then tell them to give you access to it? And what other client access would we need in order to deliver the best service? Creating an N8N or make account, I would consider this non-negotiable, yeah. The reason why we do this is twofold. Number one, handoffs are really easy because when you don't have to build the service on your account and then provision the service over to them separately, you kind of eliminate a step. Should push come to shove and maybe they don't want to work with you in the future. So simplifies handoffs, also makes it a lot easier to get up and running. And that also minimizes liability on your end. You don't have a persistent recurring cost, which is important. And then to wrap it up, you can also use things like affiliate links to add 3 to 5% to your margin. So kind of just, all in all, it's the way to go. I've experimented with a variety of approaches, like doing some sort of pass-through billing where I pay for all the accounts and whatnot. And then at the end of it, I either build a client for it, I just make my service a little bit more expensive. But I also think that there's something to be said about the dark pattern here, where when you are you're basically a service provider that is fully managing a person's business. When you're doing something like this, you're putting them in a pretty precarious position, right? If they don't want to work with you anymore, they can't exactly just say, hey, goodbye. You own their ass. You own basically everything about them. So I prefer just not putting people in that position to start with. I think it's just a lot more transparent to run everything on their account, give them the intellectual property as well. That was a question I received earlier today. And then just not really bother with, with having to rebuild the wheel every single time. Okay. AB101Toki7 says, hey Nick, I copied the transcript of your YouTube video, LinkedIn Parasite system, and took screenshots of your workflow. Then I put everything in Claude, Opus, and it made the exact same workflows in the video. Then I just did what you did. Do you think in the future there'll be no need for people to have any technical ability when it comes to building workflows? No. I mean, you still actually needed a ton of technical ability to do that. You probably just don't consider it technical ability, but you try and tell that collection of sentences to the average passerby, and I doubt their ability to do anything even remotely similar. So there's a lot of crystallized knowledge there that you're not really accounting for, and kudos to you for going through that. My other point is you still need somebody to build the thing the first time, right? So you are repurposing a pre-existing system, but if somebody were to ask you to build the system from scratch, I don't really think you'd probably be able to achieve the same sort of thing. Obviously, you could co-work with AI and whatnot, but yeah, it's not that there's not going to be any need for people to have any technical ability. It's just it's a leverage multiplier, right? You're going to need significantly less technical ability in order to do stuff that you want to do. We already see it with vibe coding and vibe marketing and whatnot, but you still need some. So if you think about it, what's 100 times 0? It's 0, right? 100 times 1 or something is 100. So that's sort of the mental model that I would use. What mic do I use right now? It's I think it's called a Hollyland V2. So it's just a little lapel mic. Normally it's a Samsung Q2U. Jack says, I feel like I'm going crazy. I swear I was watching a video yours about a week ago where you gave some new insight into cold emailing, where you said that using templated AI icebreakers is the old way. It's becoming too overused. So now it's important to level up and start including Loom videos in your cold emails. And I've searched through your entire catalog of videos and I cannot find that bit that I'm looking for. Did I hallucinate, or can I not find it? You may be hallucinating. Can you cover again what you said about cold emailing with Loom videos? Include a demo of how you would write your copy with the Loom video attached. Yeah, I think what I said about cold emailing with Loom videos is that it's possible, it's doable, and that I have done it multiple times, and I recommend people in my program that can't use Upwork for whatever reason to do it. Obviously, like conversion rates on a totally cold email are going to be lower, but you got to keep in mind that you're trading things off. Like the whole idea of cold email is, use like some dedicated cold email tool, like an Instantly or Smart Lead or something, and that allows you to distribute volume across a number of mailboxes to do things like I don't know, leverage like variables and whatnot. So in that way, you could make the email seem really personalized, despite the fact that what you're doing is just spamming 1,000 people a day. So that's the whole benefit, right? The thing is, if you start introducing things like links into cold emails, like platform providers like Gmail and Outlook and stuff, they really don't like that. And so they significantly impact the deliverability of your email and they compromise your ability to do this. So yeah, that's my point on there. You just have to be, it's not like a yes or no thing, right? So it's all shades of gray. If you use looms or links or images in an email, deliverability is just going to go down a little bit. And you just have to make up for it in other ways by, like, say, decreasing the total volume or having really good mailbox practices everywhere else or whatever. So that's probably, in a nutshell, what I yapped about when it came to cold emailing with Loom videos. And obviously, it's super effective. Think about it from the customer perspective. Like, how many people are now running campaigns where it's like, hey, I just created insert really cool asset here. Do you want me to send a video about it? That's obviously total bullshit. Like, obviously, they didn't create the asset. They're just waiting for you to respond. When they respond, they're going to create the asset. What this does is it's like a pattern break. You actually do create the asset before you receive any validation from the prospective client, that they're like interested in your service. And that just comes across really strong. The reason why I have to do that, just the value threshold is continuing to go up. It's just getting harder and more saturated to stand out in a sea of, spam, essentially. So yeah, definitely a good way to do things. And, people's usual response is like, well, it's not scalable then. You don't get to leverage like cold email. You don't get to send like 30 a day per mailbox. Now you have to send like 5 or 10. But, you do the things that don't scale until you no longer can, right? Just think about me managing Maker School right now. That's probably a pretty good example. In terms of demo of how I'd write the copy with the Loom video attached, you can find this on my channel. It's somewhere on one of these daily updates. Not exactly sure which one. Let me just open up another tab and see if I could find one for you. If you Command F Loom, you'll find a couple. So the exact same Loom strategy here, how to record Loom videos for an AI agency sales. So right over there. Give those two a look. I'm pretty sure I included a bunch of copy there. If I didn't, I'll leave a shoe. Okay, Madison says, hey, I'm trying to rate your automation system for real estate agents, where you connect real estate agents to real buyers by scraping Zillow and Craigslist. Will you be so kind as to show a workflow on how you do it in Make? Thanks so much for all helpful videos. We appreciate it more than you know. You connect real estate agents to real buyers by scraping Zillow and Craigslist. Unfortunately, you can no longer do this. You're probably referencing one of the older videos that I did like a year and a half ago. So what happened is immediately after I made it, obviously I showed everybody that this was possible, and there was a whole flood of people that tried building the same thing. Zillow was receiving probably tens of thousands of like HTTP requests from make.com. And so what they've done is they've since completely blocked the IP blocks. So you can't actually send like outbound HTTP requests, I believe, from make.com. I think they also did it with N8N. I'm not entirely sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. So you can't actually do that anymore. In addition, they also made some platform changes that I just got a plane ahead. I'm going to keep this part in the video because I think I have like really good noise canceling. Oh, I take that back. Yeah, so what were you talking about? Yeah, another thing they did is they did some platform changes. So Zillow and Craigslist both, Craigslist has like some obfuscation going on of like the buyer email address, the real estate agent email address and stuff. So you can't really do that. You haven't been able to do that for a while. But Zillow in particular has now implemented some sort of functionality where if you want to connect with an agent, you need to submit a form or something like that, which prohibits the sort of simple HTTP request-based scraping we've been doing up until now. It's unfortunate, but it's just how things go. So like if you wanted to build out what you're asking for, you would have to do some custom browser automation, which is just a lot more involved. I'd love to build a custom browser automation for you here, but I'm probably going to run out of time. So what I would do, just in a nutshell, is head over to this website here. It's called Appify. They have a web scraping course, sort of like the Web Scraping Academy, and it'll run you through web scraping basics for like JavaScript devs. This is what I recommend if you're using Make or N8N or something. like the language of choice for this stuff just tends to be JavaScript. So give that a go. Go top to bottom here, and then take this Puppeteer and Playwright course here. Puppeteer and Playwright are both ways that you can control headless browsers, and a headless browser is just like a ghost browser that isn't visible on your screen. So you still have all the functionality, like being able to send a form request, that sort of stuff. Lets you bypass a lot of like the simple HTTP based blocks, and then from there you should be in a pretty good spot to build a scraper like that. I would just host it all on Appify personally. In addition, you can go a little more superficial. If you just head over to the Appify store and type in Zillow scraper, you can get some details of Zillow properties from URLs. So you're not going to be able to get all of that data, of course, but there are some third parties here that can give you things like the agency's license number, broker agency's name. They say email and phone number here. Not going to lie, all of the scrapers that I've tried that say email and phone number have been unable to retrieve the email and phone number. I don't think this is an exception. But maybe if I'm wrong or just total full of shit, then let me know. I'd totally update my beliefs on that. And then, what you do is you launch the HTTP request. You launch the scraper via HTTP request in Make. And then it'll return like a bunch of items. And every item in that, every item will be a bundle. And then for every bundle, what you could do is just connect that to like an email module in Make or a send email node in NA-Done. And then, just hit them up. Hey, XYZ property. It looks really interesting. I have some buyers that might be interested in this property or something along those lines. Maybe you could like CC them. I don't really know exactly how I'd approach this now because I haven't had any real estate agents. I haven't worked with any real estate agents for projects like this since, but it's probably what I would do. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let's answer one more. Ashrav says, love the content. For someone new to automation, do I pick just one from your channel and try and find a matching job offer? Or do I find a job and try and make it ASAP using GPT and other AI stuff, make a quick MVP, then figure out the rest from there? I feel like you probably already know the answer to that question if you're asking me it so pointedly. I would definitely just make a quick MVP, figure out the rest from there. In a market where like the average request for proposal gets like 30 or 40 replies, realistically, like time is a very big barrier to you. So I would probably just try and build an MVP in another 15 minutes. I would use something like Make's built-in AI builder, or maybe Claude or ChatGPT with some example of what like good NA-DAN or Make.com flows look like. And then I just like wireframe an MVP, record a video about it, walk people through the logic. You're probably not going to be able to like build like a functional thing entirely from scratch in 15 minutes, but once you're done with that, then just send over the Loom. And if you want an example of like what a Loom video would look like on that, then just go back to my channel, type in Loom on the daily updates, and then look at those two videos that I recommended earlier to the Stash Guy -Y9H. Okay. All right. So before I get myself a stroke with all this sound, I'm going to head over to brand stats. We're just going to give that an update. Looks like this has gone up by 0.9% since yesterday. Granted, I'm recording this like 4 hours later than usual, so it's 28 hours. I think if you do the math on that, it's about 1,000 since yesterday. And then if I head over to Blast up here, let's see what we're seeing. 226,531. Let's pump that in there. And then finally, the daily updates channel. If I just head over to the analytics tab is 7121. So growth on this has been relatively unimpressive. We did have that big spike here, 108. Okay, let's look at the churn now. It's going to jump over here. It's at 24.18. This reminds me of when I first started it, and it was at like the 23, 24% rate. So obviously quite high. But I got another community exclusive in the queue, so should be able to post that tomorrow. And I've already gone through, I think, like 15 or so of the Maker School Month 1 and Month 2 modules, and I'm just going to re-record that whole thing. So looking pretty solid, no major issues there. That's it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to go and post and cut out a lot of the noise. But looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow.